Welcome back to my channel. I am your favorite mother of three, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is all about the amount of money that JPS thought it was okay to charge your girl. This is a get ready with me, so in a few seconds you're gonna get a jump scare, but don't worry, because by the time we're done we're gonna look like this, okay? In this video I'm pretty much going to go through the last 19 months with you on how much JPS has charged me, how my first and second bill were completely different from my third bill onward, how I got the shock of my life my second-ish month living in Jamaica. This is a huge problem in the country. JPS charges are just wild. I did them one did me. Every time I open the bill, I'm like, no sir, no sir. Let me just dig the hole in the ground from now, because what is this? Obviously, in the title of this video, that's not clickbait. That is the amount of money I've spent on electricity alone being in Jamaica. When I consider that I don't have a dishwasher and things of that nature, it's crazy. It's like, oh, okay, it's wow. We're gonna get into all those things in a second. You understand? Something needs to be done immediately. So I actually have been wanting to do this video for a very long time, but just haven't gotten around to doing it. And I guess today's the day. Finally, she's here. I love how this wig is becoming my let's talk about Jamaica wig, okay? If you read the title, then you know that I have spent an astronomical amount of money on electricity here in Jamaica. I've actually taken the time to try to get my brain to compute the differences between Canada and Jamaica, because obviously the way that Canada has renewable energy sources, or more renewable energy sources than Jamaica, is going to affect how much I would be paying. And so like the overall cost of living in Jamaica is relatively cheaper than Canada, of course, but there definitely are areas that I pay way more for stuff versus if I were in Canada, and electricity is surely one of them. In Jamaica, you got pretty much two options for electricity. You got JPS, which is the majority, right? And then if you are fortunate, or you could get you a little loan, or you have some money stashed away, then you can get you some solar. There are other energy companies in Jamaica. However, they end up having to work in conjunction with JPS from my understanding. So like they're kind of already included on your bill, and you can't like go to them independently to get your energy outside of course solar. So it's a dub. Okay, if you need electricity in Jamaica, you gotta go through JPS. So, they say it's not a monopoly anymore, but it still is giving monopoly, okay? I think the biggest mistake that was made, which happens to a lot of, you know, Jamaican businesses, is selling to somebody else. And so pretty much in 2004, when Hurricane Ivan hit, they sold JPS to this other company. I'm not gonna get into the logistics of that. I'm solely here to talk about my bill. Now, I moved to Jamaica in March of 2023, so I've been here almost 2 years now. How much I paid when I first arrived versus a couple months into my stay here was a big jump, and I never understood it, and to this day I still don't understand it. And so I need somebody to explain it, break it down for me, because ain't nothing changed. So how my bill has skyrocketed does not make any sense. And I'm also going to share with you what my Canadian bills looked like, and also, you know, the things that I had in Canada, you know, that you would think would make my bill very high, but really didn't. And again, I understand that I'm on an island now, so it's gonna be more expensive. It's just how much more expensive it is that is killing me, okay? My name is not Elon Musk, and my name is not Bill Gates, and my name is not Oprah Winfrey. My name is not Julia Roberts. So I'm not understanding how they expect poor little old me to be paying these bills. Like, no ma'am. So, Jamaican sugar daddies, if you want to come pay this bill for me, Muffa is open, okay? Because what? Canadian mother pleads for help online. Okay, so the last bill I received was for $62,330.15. That was my most recent bill. Actually, since filming this video, another bill had come out, and my current bill is $49,279.34. This is still high, but I'm more comfortable with the 40,000s. Okay, once it goes past the 40,000s, I'm like, y'all are smoking, you know what? But I was actually surprised to see that my bill was $49,279 because, again, we haven't changed anything. So why was my last bill 62, I think I said, and then this bill 49? Like, my bill is always hopping, skipping, and jumping all over the place. Nothing ever makes sense. I'll talk to you guys in CAD, USD, and JMD. So obviously, if the number is like 62,000, you know I'm talking Jamaican dollars. And then I'll tell you what it is in USD and Canadian dollars because both are not the same. My very first bill was only $13, okay? I was bamboozled. So the reason that my very first bill with JPS was only $13 was because I pretty much moved in at the end of the month, right? So like we didn't consume a lot of energy when we first moved because it was only a few days on the bill. So of course it's only gonna be $13. However, the next month, April, is really where we would see like how my family would be consuming the energy. And if you've never seen me before, I have a household of 5 people. That would be 3 children and 2 adults, okay? That being said, the day that I moved into my home was the day that my appliances were delivered. As soon as we moved in, I had my fridge, I had my stove, all of the kitchen appliances, my washer that doubles as a dryer. I had all those things on move-in, okay? So there was no surprises, no extra things added. There was already AC in the place, so like, you know, those things were already here in use when we needed them to be in use. Now, obviously, my mother has never paid a bill in Jamaica before because she left when she was a child. So this was foreign territory for both of us. We didn't know what our billing would look like or what our, you know, what everything would look like within the first month of living here because it was a new area for us. So we were pretty much settling in and getting to learn the tricks of the trade, you know, even like going shopping and where to shop versus where we live. We had to learn all those things. Like, I do not shop in my parish at all because it's so freaking expensive. And I don't shop in my town unless I'm desperate. Like, unless I like need one item from the grocery store, I'll get it locally. But like outside of that, I go far to pay a better price for my groceries and things of that nature. You kind of just learn those things as you go. We have great neighbors and stuff that kind of help us, but we're settled, so we know now how to move. Like I said, my most recent bill was 62 grand. My highest bill to date has been in the 70,000s. I'll find it in my phone and tell you guys exactly how much it is. But for April, my bill was $41,692.04, and that's April of 2023. I thought that the bill was high, but it didn't really alarm me or send any kind of bells off. It just let me know, okay, so we consume this much energy. I'm on an island, and I was okay with the $41,000 bill because I understood I'm not in Kansas anymore. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, fine. That's what my bill is going to be. And it ain't going to get any much higher because we're doing the same things over and over again. So why would my bill increase any more than this? You know, it was a big jump from $13, but it was a full month of usage versus only a few days of usage. Even so, with my first bill being only $13 for the few days that were on the bill, I still wasn't really expecting the bill to be in the 400s because in Canada, I have never had a $400 electricity bill, but I didn't understand the energy the way I understand it now. It would later make sense to me, but like at first, baby, absolutely not. I was like, whoa, $400? $400 and I'm not paying gas. Like, this is just hydro, right? This is just electricity. So I was kind of alarmed, but still not as alarmed as I would be going forward. So like I said, that was my April bill that came, and it was $41,000. The next month, May, my bill increased so much, I was like, whoa, something's not right. The meters are broken. The meter is broken. There's no way that my bill is this much money. Mind you, it said that my consumption for April was 728.9 kilowatts per hour. But when it was May, it jumped to 1,125.5 kilowatts per hour. And I'm like, confused, girl. I'm like, how? How did we increase so much? Like, what's going on? There's only one TV in the house. As soon as the bill came in and I saw it, I was clutching my pearls, number one. But number two, I ended up putting in like what's it called? An inquiry online. Because I'm like, there's no way that my bill is 70 grand. Like, what are we talking about here? I just paid 41. This is a $300 increase. Mind you, there had been, because there's always the power going out. And so there had been power outages. So I'm like, I'm confused how my bill is higher when I think there was a 3-day period we had no power. And we were like, what the hell's going on, right? And that was our first time experiencing that. Like, there was 3 days no power and my bill is higher than it was last month. That doesn't even make any sense. And like, they be taking forever to come and fix the problem. You know, somebody shows up at my house and goes to read my smart meter. Okay, the smart meters very much coming in stupid. Okay, the smart meters are dumb. They are not smart. And if you look online, you will see that the other countries, Canada, the UK, USA, the other countries that have used smart meters, they've had problems. Okay, so with the smart meter readings and customers complaining. So you tell me why they were ever implemented. Why would JPS implement the smart meters knowing that they're causing trouble in other countries? Like I said, I put in an inquiry like, why is my bill higher than any bill? It's higher than a car note. Like, why is my bill higher than my car note? Like, what is going on? The bill was over 70,000 Jamaican dollars. And I immediately said, I'm not paying that, because clearly it can't just be my household that I'm paying for, right? So I'm not paying that. So I put in the inquiry. Somebody comes out to my house and says that the reading is accurate. And I'm like, huh? Because what I had done as well was, when I saw that the bill was so high, I didn't pay the whole bill. I paid $38,817.14 because I was strongly disagreeing with the amount of money. When I paid only half of that bill and I called them and I put in the thing online, that was the only time I've seen JPS show up so fast to my house. Like, they were here like the police would be arriving at a crime scene in a suburb. Okay, that's how fast JPS got to my house to inspect my meter. And so they inspect it, and the men tell me that there's nothing wrong with my meter and that it's fine. That's the bill and it's not inaccurate. And so obviously at that point, I have no choice but to pay the bill. I was new here. I didn't know anything about the whole JPS complaints email situation, right? I didn't know about that. And I didn't even think to like inquire. I thought that when I put into customer service, that's the end of it. But there's other channels that you can go through to report, you know, problems with your JPS bill. But I'm just learning that now, okay? And so I go back into my JPS app and I pay the remainder, which was 32,816 Jamaican dollars. So I'm beside myself because, baby, I can't do that every single month. Like, they're telling me that it's accurate, so I cancel everything. I tell my kids, don't you touch that AC remote. I tell my mama, don't you touch the AC remote. No AC. No AC. I'm like, this is an OnlyFans household. I'm like, this is an OnlyFans household, okay? No more AC. Baby, I anticipated that the next month, when I get my bill, It's going to put some respect on my name, okay? It's going to respect my ting, and it's not going to be a $700 bill ever again, because what the hell are we talking about here? I'm anticipating a significant drop. I'm hiding the remotes, because I will be damned paying no $700 electricity bill. And I know I ain't done anything different from April to May for the bill to be $300 more than it was the last month. When I first saw that bill, I'm like, nah, they're playing games. They're just putting this amount here and seeing what they'll get away with, because most people just pay it. But I was talking to my neighbors and they're like, you shouldn't have paid it. You should have complained, got it reduced or something. My neighbors were trying to tell me that once I didn't complain about the first bill that they sent me, which was $41,000, or yeah, 41,000 Jamaican dollars, when I just paid it, no complaints, they were like, oh, let's test the waters. That's what my neighbors were telling me, but I don't know what's a conspiracy and what's not. That's why when the bill came the next month, the first thing I did was complain. And also because obviously the bill was just astronomical. I mean, that is like somebody's credit card statement. Like, that's somebody's damn credit card statement. $700 Canadian on electricity. It just didn't make any sense to me. Mind you, the weather where I live is pretty consistent. So like, it's usually always 30 degrees or a little bit higher, like 33 degrees Celsius. Don't ask me what that is in Fahrenheit, girl, because I don't speak that language, okay? But it's usually that all the time, unless it's like raining. In like the winter months, it drops. It might be 30 degrees in the day, but there's still like this coolness outside that is just super cold. Like last night I was sitting outside and I was freezing. I literally had to come in and get a sweater, and I'm like, nah, this is cold. This must be what the people are talking about, because every time they're like, so you don't get like cold? And I'm like, no, like you guys don't know what cold is until you live in Canada for 30 years. Y'all don't know cold. The cold that I experience in the night is bearable. However, I still sleep with a blanket up to my damn neck. So like in these months, I'm not running my AC. So I expect my bill to be like 30 grand, and it's still not going to be, because I'm not running my AC. That's why I know that these people are playing games, because my bill has never made any sense. Anyway, after the bill for 70 grand and me complaining, my bill dropped down $56,691.40, okay? So that's roughly like $500 Canadian, just over that. And in my humble opinion, that is still very high, considering my very first bill, my first month here, 41 grand. I was still over by $16,000, which I was like, how? You know, is that right? 15. So there was still a significant increase in the bill that I was not understanding. And like, I never really had to in the past, like in Canada, I never had to like look at the breakdown of my electricity bill, because it was always reasonable. In Canada, I've never paid more than like $250 for electricity. And trust and believe, there were times that my house was a revolving door, so like things like electricity, gas, water would increase in price, but never to this extent. And there's 2 families at one time living in my house. And so the other thing that I've often compared is the size of the dwelling. I live in a much smaller space now. However, my bill is much larger. And so I've tried to wrap my head around the concept of the fossil fuels and all these things, and the imports and all these things. But my brain does not want to accept that. And I will not accept it, because it just seems just ridiculous to me. It really does. Especially because I have a solar water heater. My water heater is completely solar. There's no electricity to run the water. I have a gas stove. So it's not like we're running the stove and it's on electricity, okay? The only appliances that are run on electricity in my house, major appliances, the fridge and the washer and dryer. And we'll throw in the air fryer for good measure, but like the air fryer is not an appliance that is being used like, say, you know, the washer and the refrigerator. And then of course we also have the AC units. Those are the things that would affect my bill the most. And the other thing too is like the sizes of the AC units. So there's small AC units to do each room individually. So like small spaces. Whereas in Canada, we have forced air. So in Canada, we have HVAC and the air blows through the house. First of all, Jamaica needs to figure out HVAC somehow. Okay, like I don't know, they got to implement it because it would make so much more sense to do that. We would have one big AC unit outside of the house. Then you have the Hydro Ottawa supplying the heat for the house in the winter months, right? And you control the temperature and everything. But like where the AC is concerned, there's this industrial size AC unit outside of your house and it supplies air to the whole house. Now, when I lived in Canada, my house was 3,500 square feet. That's a big house, okay? Here, my house is probably under 1,900 square feet, yet my bill is like 4 times the amount that I was paying in Canada. I am not understanding. There's no AC in the main part of the house because we would need a much larger AC to like cool the main part of the house. So typically when I'm using my AC, what I'll do is lock up my bedroom door, run the AC till the room gets cold, which does not take long, and then turn off the AC and let the AC that collected in the room cool the rest of the house. And it works like a charm. I don't run my AC constantly, and when I do run it, I make sure that it's not running for long. So I'm just not understanding why my bill would ever be jumping from 41,000 to 70 something thousand and then 56,000, okay? And then also the appliances that I had, obviously here we dry outside. Like most of the time we don't use the dryer aspect of the washing machine. In Canada, I had a big old Samsung washer and dryers, or one of each, right? I had a washing machine and a dryer. I had a dishwasher. I had a huge fridge, also made ice. So, you know, my fridge was probably twice the size of the fridge that I bought in Jamaica, okay? Like way bigger, and it actually creates ice, so it's constantly working. I had an electric stove, which, by the way, if you ever move to Jamaica, do not buy no damn electric stove. Don't do that, because with the way the power goes out, an electric stove would just be a pain in the freaking rear. Oh my god, the amount of TVs I had in that house was crazy. There was a TV in every damn room. Like, there's a TV in my mom's room. There's a TV in the guest room. There was a TV in the other guest room. There was a TV in the basement. There was a TV in the living room. That's a lot of TVs. I only have one TV in my house. Also, what are the other things that I had? The hot water heater, electricity, okay? Obviously, air fryer, toaster, kettle, coffee machine, desktop, like my iMac, garage door opener, like wallop of things, wallop. So many things running on electricity in Canada versus here, that's just not the case. Oh, and then of course the AC and the heat. In Canada, 8 months out of the year, I'm paying for the heat to warm the damn house because it's freezing. Here, I'm not paying for no damn heat because all I gotta do is walk outside, praise the Lord. Okay, all I gotta do is walk outside to get some heat now. Hell, I don't even have to walk outside to get heat. I can just stay in my room. So like, I was paying for heat and AC in Canada, and I was paying for a whole lot of things, whereas here I'm not. And somehow, some way, I've still managed to have to pay an astronomical amount of money for these things. Now, if this was an isolated situation, we could look at me and be like, girl, shut up, stop complaining because you are consuming this energy. Baby, no, we're not. It is a countrywide issue with the amount people are being charged for electricity. Mind you, the average Jamaican is only bringing in 575 American dollars a month. A month. That's pretty much my freaking utility bill. So I'm sat there like, how are these people managing to pay their bill, whatever it is? Because obviously not everybody is going to be, you know, having a bill as astronomical as mine, but they're still having very, very, very high bills, and everybody is complaining, okay? The breakdown of the bills do not make sense. Keep in mind, after Hurricane Beryl hit, and obviously lots of places had zero electricity, when we got our bills the following month, the bill just didn't make any sense, because where I'm from, we didn't have power for 5 days. Where my grandma is, she didn't have power for over a week. I think it went on almost 2 weeks, right? Then Places like St. Elizabeth were without power for even longer. However, the bills were not reflecting that. There were some people that had literally no power for almost a month. Somehow, some way, JPS still sent them a bill, which made no sense because guess what? Hurricane Beryl hit in the first week of July. The math was not mathing. And JPS got audited and they came back, I think, in September with reduced bills. My bill was significantly lower. My last few bills before were relatively high. Sure enough, we all got a reduced rate in September. And when I had posted about it on Instagram, people had responded to me and said that, oh, they also got reduced bills as well. And so that was because of the audit. However, the next month, it creeped right back up. And so nobody can really make sense of how the bill or why the bills are as high as they are. And the truth of the matter is they keep playing games. Them a go round. They're playing so many games. Them a go round we, okay? And like, we're kind of at a loss when it comes to this situation. And maybe I'm a mad woman, but in my mind, I feel like the only way to like get or see significant change is if it was one band, one sound, okay? The people have to protest in one way or another. The people have to protest. We would literally have to conduct a shutdown to make our voices heard where the bill's concerned. But I don't know if that is reasonable, the idea I have in my head, what would happen, or if it would be more problematic. But like in my head, if every Jamaican person that has an issue with their bill, or if the whole entire country, except for like obviously like hotels, because they wouldn't be able to participate, if the whole entire country decided to stage a freaking shutdown, if they picked a month and a day and a time, 2 p.m. on a freaking random day, that everybody went to their freaking electricity box and shut off all of their electricity at the same time, everybody across the island, would JPS not fix up? If everybody just decided one band, one sound, shut off your electricity for 24 hours, you see how quick they would freaking fix up? Oh, at the end of the day, everybody is looking money. Everybody. And nobody's doing anything. They're complaining. They're getting called out for a whole bunch of things. They're like, too bad, so sad. Pay your bill. And it's like, what are you going to do? Me, I personally understand why people have teeth currents. Cause if I lived up a country, I would not be paying for no AC, no electricity. I'm telling you. I would have to teeth currents. But I'm not here to cause trouble. So I'm just here to live my best life. But like, that's really the only way I see any change happening is if everybody was one band, one sound, shut off your electricity for 24 hours and see what happens. But like, it's not gonna happen, so I'm just gonna mind my business and keep paying my little electricity bill and crying about it in my non-existent Rolls Royce. What am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Our options are truly very limited as to, you know, what we can do in terms of complaining and getting any resolve. Sometimes you gotta take things to the extreme to get what you need. But wouldn't that be so wild? Oh my god. That would be so wild. JPS would be so confused, like, wait a second. why is nobody have power right now? Because the other thing is, with the way the electricity goes out, like I always know, like if you guys have watched my videos, the electricity, I'll be sitting here minding my business filming a video and all of a sudden darkness comes over my room and I'm like, what the hell? Literally, I'll be in the middle of working. I work from home and the electricity will go out and I'm not being compensated. I could be literally in the middle of uploading a video to YouTube and the electricity goes out. Like, it's not fair and nobody does anything about it. The amount of times that my power in my house has gone out for days and JPS is like, we're coming, and they take forever to show up, and by the time they show up, all the food in my fridge is freaking spoiled. My refrigerator, my freezer, everything melt out. I have to fling away so much stuff. So like, obviously I learned that in like during hurricane season and stuff, I can't be buying groceries the way I normally would. Even on a regular day, like I don't grocery shop how I would normally grocery shop because there's this risk of the power going out. I have clocked it that like every Wednesday at some point during the day, the power will go out. And that's not like my Wednesday thing. That's just literally every Wednesday the power goes out. I can bank on it. the lights be flickering. Like literally the lights will just flicker out of nowhere. The amount of times the transformer busts and the JPS workers are here trying to fix the freaking transformer, and then it's pouring rain outside and they're like, we can't fix it, we gotta come back in the morning, all this stuff. And so we go without power. The kids don't mind because the kids are taking the flashlights and doing shapes on the walls, okay? But when the food is spoiled because there's not been power for days, and then there's no compensation for that, and my kids are like, we don't want ramen. But the chicken has gone bad in the freezer because the power ain't there. Like, what about that? And I'm still supposed to pay this high bill? Like, that's crazy to me. I think the amount of money we spend on electricity and the quality of service just doesn't match, right? And so that's like a really big issue, because it's like, what am I paying for? If every freaking week, at least one time for the week, the power is going to chip out on me. Apparently you could do like a top-up service, but I don't have time for that. Like, it's not a cell phone. I'm a firm believer that if I were to use the like top-up option where you pay per use for your electricity, I would end up paying way more somehow, some way, versus just paying my bill outright. So I haven't opted to switch to that because I'm terrified of what the bill would be if they tried to tell, if I'm paying per use. I feel like they would end up trying to charge me more, and I'm not into the shenanigans. I'm already not into the shenanigans. But they do offer that service where you could pay as you go. I can't afford to be without electricity. Otherwise, I would be living on some kind of Amish reserve. So, that's not feasible. It's giving we really are very limited as the Jamaican people in terms of how to fight back against electricity prices. In Canada, when you're frustrated with a provider, like say, I don't know, Rogers and Bell, what you do is you call them and you cancel, and you threaten to leave them, and somehow they just manage to reduce your bill by 50%. And you know, that's how we get away with stuff in Canada, when they come with their shenanigans. But here, with the electricity, you can't do that. There's no option to do that. And be like, well, I'm leaving, going to another company, and they have retention, so they'll try to work something out for you. Baby, there's no option for that with electricity. And so in Canada, you don't really have to do that with your electricity anyway, because the pricing, I would say, is fair. It's not fair here. It's not fair at all. And I would start talking about the grocery issue, but I have a little bit more understanding about the grocery prices, even though they are very high as well, especially depending on where you shop. They're definitely scamming in some places, because when I say I was going to Price Mart, okay, and I wanted to buy fruit roll-ups. They have a box of 48 fruit roll-ups, okay? In Canada, I would probably pay, I don't know, $12 for this box of fruit roll-ups. Not even, maybe 8. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while, okay? But like, I would not pay more than that for snacks for my kids. And so I go into the Price Mart and I see the fruit roll-ups, and the price on the fruit roll-ups is 5,000 Jamaican dollars. 5,000, that's pretty much $50 Canadian, 45 bucks for a box of candy that's going to rot teeth. For a box of fruit roll-ups, $5,000. And so I go to Price Mart maybe once a month, 2 times if I end up running out of something essential like toilet paper or something like that. I try to only go once a month because my bill is always ridiculously high when I go there. Every time I went to the Price Mart for like 3 months straight, the box of fruit roll-up was at $5,000. I'm watching it because I'm like, there's no way any Jamaican person is walking in here and purchasing this box of fruit roll-ups. It's not worth $5,000. It's freaking fruit roll-up. Fruit roll-up! Are you serious? So yeah, I'm watching it and watching it and watching it. And it's not reducing. Well, I went the other day, and that same box of fruit roll-ups that sat there for 4 months at 5,000 Jamaican dollars went down to 1,900 Jamaican dollars. And so of course at that point I purchased it because I'm like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this to be reduced. The fact that they were able to reduce it that much was crazy to me. The other issue that I have when I go into Price Mart is every time I go, the things are priced differently. So the same items, by the way, and it'll have this sign on it that says that it was this price and that it's been reduced but it's always a lie. I'm telling you, every time I go, I'm like, no. The last time I was here, I remember how much this cost because I either took a picture of it at the price that was listed at, or I specifically looked at it and remembered this was $62,000 or $6,200, right? And so I'll remember things like that because I went and actually paid attention to it. And then when I go back, it's either $20 more or $200 more than it was, and then it's showing a reduced price. And I'm like, that's not what it said before. What are we talking about? Or it's priced higher and saying that it was a higher price the week before. And I'm like, no, because I've specifically looked at this item and it was this price. So why are they lying, right? And so I notice this stuff all the time. And so I'm always taking note because shrinkflation is real. But like I said, I'm only here to talk about JPS right now. I'm not going to get into Price Smart because ciao, that's a whole other story, okay? So then I get my bill for the next month. So after I pay $56,691, I get my bill for the next month and it's up again. It's higher. And I'm like, no, I'm not running my AC. I'm doing everything the same in this house. Why is the bill keep increasing? And so now the bill comes and it's $60,953. And it wasn't a ginormous jump from the 56. It's $4,000 more, but it didn't matter to me. It was still $4,000 is still a lot of money to increase on a freaking $500 bill. Like, why is the bill so high? And I'm not changing my habits, right? I'm not buying any new appliances. Everything's the same. Why is the bill what it is? So then at this point, I start to see more consistency. And so my next bill that comes, $60,632. I guess they figured I was happy with that because I didn't complain again. I was not happy. I just don't have time for customer service to come to my house and tell me the meter is reading fine when clearly everybody is having the same issue. So then the bill for the next month shows up. And I'm just paying these bills and not complaining. In my mind, I'm cussing, okay? I'm telling somebody about their mama, but like, I'm not complaining to JPS because I don't have time for them to come tell me no foolishness. So, me can't better, no. So yeah, the bill comes, it's $62,780. The bill after that, $62,532. We get to January, because that was my December bill. My December bill was $62,532.62. So then we get to January. Mind you, once it gets to like September, baby, I'm freezing. I'm cold. So I'm definitely not running my AC the way I may run it in the summer, like hot summer months, like June, July. It's hot in June and July, but even so, the kids are out of school, so we're not home. We're going to the beach. We're doing this. We're doing that. So it's like, why is the bill still so damn high? And so, like right now, it's November and outside is cold. And when I say cold, I mean like you need a sweater, you need a jacket, especially like in the nighttime. My bedroom is cold. Like I said, I sleep with my blanket up to my neck, okay? And it's an actual blanket. It's not a sheet. That's that on that. That's just to explain to you like an example of how cold it gets. And this is coming from a Canadian, okay? A snowbird, if you will. If I'm saying it's cold as Little Miss Canadiana, then you know it's cold, okay? So it's fairly cold in the winter months. I don't like my legs covered, so no matter how cold it is, you're not really gonna catch me in like leggings or long pants in my house, but I will wear shorts and then have a blanket. If it's even colder, you might catch me in some socks, okay? But like, I'm not putting on no long pants. I can't do it. It bothers my legs. Me having a clothing sensitivity is crazy. So by the time January rolls around, my bill drops back down to $60,026.59 from the previous month, which was $62,532. It's like they'll give me two low bills around the same, or they'll give me two bills around the same amount and then change it the next month and then give me another 2 months of the same amount and then change it the next month again. That's the pattern I see. It goes even lower and I'm jumping for joy. I'm like, oh, beautiful, okay? Mind you, it's warming up again, so this really doesn't make any sense. We go down to $46,171.72, and I obviously, coming from the 60 and 70 grand, mid-40s, I'm happy. I'm like, oh my gosh. And again, I hadn't done anything differently. I saw the bill, And I wonder to myself, do they just throw random numbers on these bills? Because we've not changed anything. We've done everything the same. Still not using the AC. Still using whatever appliances we're using the same way that we always have, not changing our pattern and anything. Nobody's moved into the house and making the bills go up. So why is the bills fluctuating the way that it is? Because how did we go from 58 grand to 46 grand with no changes? I didn't get rid of an appliance. I didn't add an appliance. What's going on? Of course, that was short-lived because we jumped back up to $54,161.85 by the time we got to the next bill, which was sent out in April. And so that would have been a full year's worth of bills from April to April, right? Because we're not going to count the $13 from March. And then when I get the next bill, which I paid on May 15th, it looks like, it was $50,018.98. And so I don't know if they decided that they're going to keep this pattern where every single June and every single May, June, July, they're going to skyrocket my bill. But my bill has skyrocketed again after the bill for $50,000. When I paid my bill on June 5th of this year, it was once again $71,925.96.
Unacceptable!
And so obviously I'm feeling like my hands are tied because I've already complained before when my bill was super high and they came and said this is right and this is accurate. But at that time, I didn't know that I'm not the only person experiencing these crazy bills. Once I, realized that this is not an isolated incident, I said, oh, okay, something is not right. So yes, as I was saying, my bill came and it was 71 grand again. But as the old saying goes, it's actually not an old saying, it's just something my mom says, I'm not going to give anybody an opportunity to lie to me. AKA, them not take me for idiot, okay? So I'm not going to call and I'm not going to bother with the foolishness, because what's the point? I already know they're going to tell me the meter's fine, that's how much electricity I use for the month, and blah, 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 blah. The only reason it's not adding up because it's their word against mine, is their meter against me, knowing that I'm not changing my actions. I'm not adding anything. I'm not subtracting anything, yet every month my bill is different. Your bill should be pretty even. And so that's the other thing. In Canada, I had something called equal billing. They don't have equal billing here, obviously. But the truth of the matter is JPS need to change them name from Jamaica Public Service to Jamaica Public Disservice, because this is truly a disservice and I am not a happy customer. I'm not. It's JPD from here on out. Jamaica Public Disservice. Because what? So then, of course, again, despite the fact that I didn't put in any complaints, my bill dropped again. So it went down from the 71,000. So the next month, my bill was $67,506. The month after that, $63,379. So it's going down. The bill for $63,000 was the bill that included Hurricane Beryl on it. 5 days, no power at all. Zero power in my whole entire community. And my bill was still 63 grand. So then, the month after Hurricane Beryl's bill came out, the bill jumps again. And it's at $73,018.28. And so after Hurricane Beryl, JPS came with like this excuse that, the power, once the power came back on, everybody was doing laundry and like all kind of stuff. That's why we would see like a upkick and a whole bunch of bills that are higher the month following Beryl. But I'll tell you why that makes no sense. Because the way that my mom typically does laundry here, it wouldn't matter if there was power or no power. Nothing changed. There was no upkick in laundry. My mom is constantly washing laundry, okay? Like, she's always washing laundry. When we first got here, and it was that first month, and my mom was washing laundry, she was washing her laundry. Nothing changed. There's the same amount of days in the week that were in April of 2023 are the same amount of days in the week that are present day. And if my mom washes laundry, say, 4 days in a row, the bill in April of 2023 was only $41,000. My mom didn't change the way she washes laundry. She's not washing more loads. She's not washing less loads. She's pretty consistent because she gathers the laundry how she gathers the laundry. That's why we have the questions that we have, because if literally nothing changes, because by human nature we have our patterns, why would there be an upkick in the bill because people are washing laundry? It's ridiculous. It's almost insulting. Not even almost insulting. It is insulting because she wasn't playing catch up. She's not doing anything different. It's just that she didn't have power for 5 days. She wasn't even home for the 5 days. And then when she got power, it was business as usual. It wasn't, oh gosh, I have way more laundry now to wash. Because first of all, we're coming from vacation, so we only had a limited amount of clothing that we wore on vacation. The children's items are pretty small, so a lot will fit in the drum. So, you know, most people couldn't bathe because the water tanks that pump the water into the house are electric. And so we were going without water. We were going without electricity. It was a big issue because when the power goes out, it's not just the power in the house. It's not just, you can't just watch TV. It's, you can't pump water into your house if you live in an area that you need to pump water into the house. And so you wash your booty with rainwater or you're washing your booty with bottled water. There's a lot of trauma attached to when the power goes out. And I live in an area where my power is constantly going out, even if there's no freaking rain outside. Like, it's ridiculous. The next month, after that $73,000 bill, this was during the time of the audit. So once the audit situation happened with JPS, they then gave everybody some bill reduction for the September bills. So on October 10th, I paid a bill for $54,017.48. So my bill was drastically dropped, and I found out online that, you know, lots of Jamaicans also had this reduction on their bill as well. I personally thought that the audit would have meant that we're gonna see a consistent decrease and it was gonna be maintained. But that's not what happened. After that audit happened and we got these reductions, my bill went right back up. It went to $62,330.15. And so what they're trying to tell me is that my average is in this $60,000 range, but I'm just trying to understand what and how, if nothing has changed from April 2023 to present day November 2024. How did we go from 41,000 to 70? I think it was like 76 grand. Like, I don't remember. It was very high, 78,000 to then 50,000, then back up to 60,000. How is my bill fluctuating the way that a pregnant woman's weight would fluctuate? Me not tell no lie. Me want to put little Ozempic in that bill there. Okay? Let's actually calculate it now. As I'm calculating this here, you might be sitting there like, okay, girl, well, those bills are crazy. Why you never get solar yet? Because you have $2 million for lending me if you get solar. Like, I'm a single mom, okay? Ain't no solar coming up in here. Like, I have to budget and save, and I have money for this and money for that before I can go buy no damn solar for the whole of the house. Just because I come from a foreign don't mean say I have $2 million stashed away to spend on solar, okay? Now, if you want to send me $2 million, forget 2 million Jamaican, I'm pretty sure. If you want to send me 2 million Jamaican, forget little solar, then, you know, your people should call white people and let me know. But solar is expensive. And then also, there's different packages and stuff for solar. And so I've heavily considered it, but like, it's an investment and worth it, I would say. But there's also the issue of, because my house is a little smaller, the battery storing thing, and like, where are we gonna put that? Do I need to put a shed in my backyard to store the batteries in? Girl, I don't freaking know. But like, in my neighborhood, I think there's only 2 houses that I've seen that have complete solar panels decking out their whole house. The other thing with that is, just because you have solar doesn't mean that you're not gonna have JPS to deal with still. You still need your JPS for backup. You might not pay as much as I'm clearly paying now, because I'm staring at my screen here. I'm at 416. Shout out to Toronto. 416 929 and 36 cents. Okay, that's 416,000 Jamaican dollars. Once I get the total here, I'll tell you what it is in American, and I'll tell you what it is in Canadian. I have spent in Jamaican dollars $1,019,159.76. Is insanity. Now, I'm not hunching nobody that owns the JPS. So this is what it is, right? Over $1 million for electricity. Sounds crazy in any currency. But that's the Jamaican currency. Now, in the United States currency, that would be a total of $6,418.49. In Canadian currency, because as we know, the all-American dollar is much greater than both Jamaican dollar and Canadian dollar. $8,965.14 Canadian. Almost 10 grand on electricity for my home, for my tiny dwelling, since I moved to Jamaica. I've been here less than 2 years, and I spent almost $10,000 on electricity alone. That is a problem. By 2021, there were 2 families living in my house, so there should be a significant increase in how much electricity is getting used. So I'm going to find my highest bill. This was right when I was kicking out Tasmanian Devil, around that time, and so technically I only had to pay half of this bill, which means that my total for the bill was really only 180, about 180 I would have paid for this bill. So taking my highest bill at $370 Canadian, by the way, times 19 months, over the span of 19 months, if I take my highest bill, which is not realistic because that's the only time I ever seen a bill that high in Canada, but we're just gonna go with that because it's my highest bill. Hi, baby. How was your day? Where's your tie? I get a total of $160,000.26. If I then convert that to USD, $5,046.31. That is $1,400 less, and that's my highest bill. And again, I guess it's apples and oranges because the renewable energy issue, right? Getting energy in Canada is not the same as getting energy on a freaking island. So, you know, we're comparing apples and oranges, but it's just to say, what the hell? Because it's such a significant difference in how much I'm paying, but also, you know, the issue with the smart meters, I think they don't work. And nobody's going to convince me otherwise, because they had the same issue in Canada, in America, in the UK. Something is wrong, and we're being robbed blindly. Hell, we're not even being robbed blind at this point because it's very blatant and obvious what's happening. But like I said, unless the people decide to rebel and shut their power down for 24 hours, nothing is going to change. I need electricity. My job requires electricity. Such is life, and that's why they get away with these things. And there's nowhere else to turn to outside of solar. But like I said, solar to get done is very expensive. So here we are. So my conclusion is that I would have to stop living where I'm living, move into my grandma's yacht, save for a year or two, right? Well, a year I've saved. If I didn't pay electricity for 1 year in this residence, I would have an extra $1 million on my hands. Factor in, if I'm not living in this residence, I wouldn't be paying water. I wouldn't be paying the gas. I wouldn't be paying anything. I wouldn't be paying my monthly dues, you know? I guess pay room and board for me and my bag of picnic, and save the money to be able to pay for solar without taking out a loan or dipping into my savings for other things. Is that reasonable? No. It's not. Like, it's just not. So what me fi do, blacker? What me fi do? Body, take my body, take the house and land and run it. Wait, that's what I need to do. I need to butt up JPS. No, sir, JPS, you have to fix up because I can't afford it. It's too much. It's too expensive. I don't like it. I mean, that $1 million could be going other places. Paying $1 million for electricity is crazy. Paying $8,000 for electricity is crazy. You know, it's almost 10 grand in 19 months. When I lived in Canada, that 10 grand would have been 3.5 months of rent. It's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Do I save money in multiple areas living in Jamaica? Of course. But I have to then take that same money that I'm saving to shovel it into freaking JPS's accounts. What are we talking about, you know? That being said, I'm always gonna say that it's a fair trade-off because I get the sun all the time now and we get to enjoy the outdoors and we're not locked in the house for 8 months out the year. Like, the trade-off is the only reason that I've just like taken it on the chin. But the truth of the matter is, this is not an isolated situation. Millions of customers going through this with JPS, and though their bills may not be $70,000, some might be even higher. Like, I look at these little like businesses and I'm like, how are they staying open with these bills, child? But JPS don't play. The day before your bill is due, at least at my house, let me know if you live in Jamaica and this happens to you. If your bill is about to be due and you haven't paid it yet, the lights flicker to remind you. And I'm just like, oh, time to pay. And it happens like clockwork. When I say if I don't pay the bill literally before the due date, the lights in my house will flicker. Now, granted, the lights flicker anyway because the power is about to go out at any given time. And so there's these odd times where we're like, oh my God, when's the power coming back? But yeah, over $1 million on electricity. How if the average Jamaican is only making 575 American dollars per month, are the electricity bills so damn high? Like, I'm not understanding. And it might be a case where people are sacrificing their needs to pay to make sure the electricity is kept on in their home. Pretty much to sum up this video, adulting is very ghetto, okay? If you are young, do not rush to become an adult, baby. You don't want these problems, okay? It's just like if I make a list of all the benefits of living in Jamaica versus the cons, obviously the good is gonna outweigh the bad every single time. So it's just like, yes, my JPS bill is terrible. It's really terrible. But everything else in Jamaica is lovely. Okay, so I'm just like, you know, but I think I'm forever gonna be annoyed with that bill until something happens or until I bite the bullet and get solar. That's pretty much it for this video. If you are in Jamaica and do use JPS, tell me in the comment section below how you are feeling about your bill. Tell me what your last bill was or what your highest bill has ever been. Anything you want to let me know, girl or sir, okay? Because there's probably gonna be some men watching this video too. So I love you all so much, and I will definitely see you guys in the next one.